Hello and welcome to my little process video here of how I drew this illustration of my Tav. She is a tiefling bard. Her name is Rivera, and just to get us started here, you can see me sketching out the pose. I do work from reference as often as I could, and this one I was kind of drawing a blank on the pose itself, so I did find some nice free to use stock images, kind of to reference just the overall flow of her body and the general pose. Her head I do end up changing here because I'm not happy with the first one I draw, and then her hands and of course tail deviate from the stock image as well, but use reference, kids, it's good for you. As you can see, I'm playing here with the different planes of the face, and this portrait, usually portraits are my specialty, but this one just would not cooperate, and I just wasn't happy with her expression in general. So you see me start to sketch a second head off to the side here, and I do end up liking that one a lot better, and we do use that in the finished piece. So you see the image off to the right here is a previous picture I had drawn of her just for reference. I'm doing a whole character sheet thing of her and her different outfits throughout the different acts of the game because I love playing dress up. So here we transplanted the new head onto the sketch body, and I am just going to town finalizing the pose and getting everything set up for the finished piece. I do a ton of underdrawing. These are very, very scribbly. I don't know if that's an anxiety thing, an ADHD thing. My lines did not always used to be that way, but just over the years, I tend to be more and more scratchy and frantic with my lines almost, but I do try to get fluidity out of them and a lot of movement. Here we go, sketching in the background. I knew right away my pieces tend to have very minimal or even no backgrounds, but I really wanted to paint a scene here and really get a springtime kind of feel, so you have a whole setting where she is in. I'm laying down perspective lines here, and the far background, I imagine that she's on some kind of fancy castle or estate type deal somewhere on the Sword Coast, maybe in the upper city, and she is just enjoying her glass of wine or champagne or whatever she's drinking. At this point, I feel comfortable enough with my sketch to continue and go in and ink Rivera over. I did cut a lot of this out just because it was too small for you to really see what was even happening, and it would make for a very boring video. So I went straight into color, pulling up my various reference of her that I've drawn previously to just eyedropper tool everything, and we just fill in color from there. I really wanted to do a pastel springy palette just to keep with the theme for this. Throw in some gradients. You can see I also pulled reference of the balcony with all the details on that. We'll come back to that later. I saved myself a lot of time on this background by using petal and various leaf brushes. Work smarter, not harder. And I do, to tone it down a little and make it less obvious that you're just using leaf brush, I do use a lot of blurring tools and effects like that to make it softer, and the further away you get, some perspective blur on all of those. Here you see I am inking the middle ground here and finishing up that sakura branch in the background really inefficiently. I popped a bunch of flowers on the bushes here just for a little extra, and then did some cast shadow effects and started adding textures to everything here. We are going to be jumping around here a bit, finishing up the mid-ground with some textures, deeper cast shadows, and then going back in and finishing off Rivera with shading. This is the longest process video I've made. Let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments below, and of course, hitting the like and subscribe button for my channel never hurts too. I really wanted the dress to look soft, so I spent some time here rendering it with shadows and highlights. Coloring hair is something that throws me a lot. I cut it out because I hated it. It's the second pass that I ended up keeping. Now that Revere is all polished, I can continue to focus on the background and go crazy on that hedge. I lied, the shading on her hair didn't have enough depth and I needed to fix it. This tree was just too much green, something needed to be done to break it up, so here I went with white. I was thinking of a dogwood or something. A neighbor up the street from my old apartment had one in their front yard, but in this case I was bad and it did not pull reference. But that's what's great about fantasy works. There can be a white tree if I want, so we're just gonna deal with it. The building in the far background just gets painted in. We're real loosey-goosey here with it because it's out of focus and far from the focal point of the piece. Don't look at it. If you're still with me, thank you for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed my art process. I had a lot of fun with this piece, and I really like how it turned out. And if this kind of thing is something you want to see more of, let me know. Bye!